The quiet campfire. Jackson's hands shook as he gathered the dry branches. The alien jungle was dark and wet, full of strange sounds. Insects buzzed in the shadows, and tall plants rustled with every breeze. He had been walking for hours since the crash. His ship was gone, broken in a deep crater far behind him. All he wanted now was warmth and food. He crouched near a flat rock and set the branches in a small pile. With careful hands, he struck his metal rod against a shard of stone. Sparks jumped in the dark dot after 3 tries. A tiny flame flickered to life. Jackson let out a breath he didn't know he was holding. Good, he whispered. Just stay lit. The fire grew slowly, pushing back the shadows. Jackson looked around for anything he could cook. In the thick vines, he had found a small lizard-like creature. He didn't know if it was safe to eat, but he was too hungry to care. He cleaned the animal and set it on a flat leaf. His eyes searched the clearing for something to use as a spit. That was when he saw it. Half hidden by roots, a long spear was buried in the ground. The shaft was dark wood, carved with strange symbols. The blade was dull and rusted, but still sharp enough to pierce meat. It looked old, very old. Jackson hesitated. He knew better than to touch things he didn't understand. But he was cold and starving, just a tool. He told himself, nothing more. He stepped over the roots and gripped the spear. The wood was warm under his hand, as if it had been waiting for him. He pulled. For a moment, it refused to move. Then, it slid free with a soft hiss, like something releasing a long breath. Jackson shivered. He turned away quickly and brought the spear back to the fire. Just a stick, he muttered, trying to calm his racing heart. He pushed the lizard onto the point and set it over the flames. Smoke rose in thin ribbons. Fat dripped onto the coals, making them hiss and pop. Jackson sat cross-legged, rubbing his tired arms. The warmth helped. The scent of cooking meat filled the clearing. For the first time in days, he felt almost safe. He closed his eyes, letting the fire heat his skin. He thought of the little house where he grew up, the kitchen where his mother made stew on cold nights. He wished he could go back there, just for 1 hour. A breeze moved through the trees, stirring the leaves overhead. Jackson opened his eyes. He reached out to turn the meat. That was when he heard it. A voice, deep and calm, spoke behind him. It has been many years since that spear tasted a hunt. His heart stopped. He turned his head slowly. Shadows shifted at the edge of the firelight. Something tall stepped forward, something wearing dark armor that gleamed like wet stone. A pair of golden eyes looked down at him. The figure was female, her face set in a mask of smooth bone. Her voice was smooth as silk. Now, she said softly, your species is on the menu. Jackson's throat went dry. He tried to stand, but his legs felt like water. I don't understand. He stammered. The woman tilted her head. You took the spear, she said. You accepted the right. He shook his head quickly. No, he said. I didn't know. Ignorance does not change the law, she said. She stepped closer. The firelight shone on her armor, revealing the carved symbols that matched those on the spear. Jackson swallowed hard. What law? He whispered. Her golden eyes glowed brighter. The law of the old hunt, she said. The one your kind forgot. She raised a long blade, resting it lightly on her shoulder. By taking that weapon, she said, you declared yourself prey. Jackson felt the world tilt under him. He gripped the spear tighter, though he knew it would not help. Please, he said, voice shaking. I was only trying to survive. Her gaze did not soften. So am I, she said. The fire crackled between them, and Jackson knew his quiet campfire had become the start of something far more dangerous than hunger. Asterisk, the hunt begins. Jackson could not look away from her golden eyes. The woman stood very still, like she had all the time in the world. Her armor gleamed in the firelight. Steam curled around her shoulders as if she were part of the jungle itself. You don't have to do this, he said slowly. I don't even know your people. She tilted her head, studying him the way a scientist might study a small animal. My name is Aldous, she said. I am the hunt mistress of the 5th house. Her voice was deep but smooth. And you, she continued, are the first human to touch the spear since the old war. Jackson felt a chill that had nothing to do with the night air. Listen, he tried again. I'm not a soldier. I didn't mean any harm. Intent does not matter. Aldous replied. The right is older than your history, right? The spear was forged to mark prey, she said calmly. Whoever takes it becomes part of the hunt. He swallowed. trying to keep his voice steady. And what happens if I give it back? Her eyes glowed brighter. Once accepted, the challenge cannot be undone, she said. She raised her blade, pointing it at his heart. You will run, she said. I will follow. The spear felt heavier in his hand. Jaxon thought of running into the jungle, alone in the dark. He tried to think of any plan, any way to talk himself free. You can't just kill me, he said. I haven't done anything to you. All this was quiet for a moment. Then she stepped closer, so close he could see the fine patterns etched into her mask. You carry the scent of the old enemy, she whispered. You are not as innocent as you pretend. What enemy? The ones who came before you, she said. The ones who burned our forests and broke our laws. Her voice softened, but it was not kindness. You wear the same face, she said. You will pay the same price. He felt his hands tighten around the spear. If I don't run, he asked. Her golden eyes locked on his. Then you die now, she said simply. Jackson felt something cold settle in his stomach. He looked past her at the shadows under the trees. He had only one choice. Fine, he said hoarsely. I'll run. All this lowered her blade. You have until dawn, she said. What happens at dawn? The hunt begins, she said. She turned and melted into the dark. Her step so quiet, he could hardly believe she was real. Jaxon stood alone in the flickering. Firelight. He tried to breathe slowly, but every part of him shook. He looked down at the spear. It felt like a curse. He wanted to drop it, to run back to the crater and hide under the wreckage of his ship. But some part of him knew there was no safe place anymore. He pulled the spear closer to his chest. Okay, he whispered to himself. Think. He scanned the trees. If she was really going to hunt him, he needed food, water, and a plan. He kicked dirt over the fire, killing the light. Then he turned and slipped into the jungle. The trees closed around him like a black cage. Every sound seemed louder. Every shadow seemed alive. He moved carefully, testing each step before he shifted his weight. Once, he looked over his shoulder, expecting to see her golden eyes watching him, but there was nothing. He forced himself to keep going. She had given him until dawn. It wasn't a gift. It was a promise. As he crept deeper into the jungle, he thought of Earth again, of the stories about hunters and prey. He had never imagined he would be the one running, but now, with the old spear in his hands, he knew this was no story. It was survival. The run for survival. Jackson moved fast through the trees, careful to leave no easy trail. The jungle floor was damp and soft. Each step sank into moss and old leaves. He tried to step where the ground was firm, but sometimes his boots squelched loudly in the mud. Above him, huge flowers opened in the dark, releasing thick sweet smells. Strange insects flickered through the air like tiny stars. He paused under a wide tree and pressed his palm against the bark to catch his breath. The spear rested across his shoulders. It felt heavier every minute. He closed his eyes and counted slowly to 10. He needed to think. He knew all this would not wait for long. Even if she had said dawn, he could feel her presence somewhere close. Watching. Testing. He turned and looked back. The way he came. No movement. No sound. But that didn't comfort him. He started walking again, choosing a path that twisted around thick roots and tall ferns. The farther he went, the stranger the plants grew. Their leaves shone with faint blue veins, some opened and closed as he passed, like they were breathing. He told himself he wasn't afraid. It was a lie. He needed water. He needed somewhere to rest. More than anything, he needed to get ahead of her. He stopped near a narrow stream. The water was clear, full of tiny fish with silver scales. He knelt, dipping his hands into the cold flow. The chill helped clear his mind. He drank quickly, listening for any sound behind him. Nothing. He let out a shaky breath. Think, Jackson, he whispered. You have skills. Use them. He looked at the trees and remembered how he used to build traps as a boy. It had been a game back then, sticks and string to catch small animals. Now it was life and death. He set the spear across the rocks and searched the area. Long vines, fallen branches, thorny plants that could tear flesh. He worked fast. He bent a thick branch into a tight arc, securing it with a vine. He scattered loose leaves over the snare to hide it. If she stepped there, the trap would snap around her leg. He knew it wouldn't stop her. But it might slow her down. He made 3 more traps as quietly as he could, each one hidden under leaves and moss. He didn't expect them all to work, but he hoped at least one would give him time to run. As he tied the last vine in place, he heard a soft rustle behind him. He froze. Slowly. He turned his head. Nothing moved. He swallowed hard. Maybe it was just the wind. He picked up the spear again. His hands were shaking. He moved away from the traps and slipped deeper into the jungle. His thoughts raced. She had said he carried the scent of the old enemy. What did that mean? What had humans done here before he was even born? He didn't know and he didn't think she would care. He climbed a low ridge and crouched behind a thick bush. From here, he could see the small stream below, glinting like a silver ribbon. He forced himself to breathe slowly. If she came this way, he would hear her. He would have a few seconds to run. He gripped the spear tight and rested his forehead against his arm. He was tired, so tired. But he knew he couldn't sleep. Not yet. Above him, the night sky began to lighten just a little. Dawn was coming. The hunt was about to begin, and he was still alive. For now. Asterisk, the unexpected respect. First pale light of dawn slipped between the trees. Jaxon crouched behind the bush, muscles locked tight. Every sound made him flinch. Every gust of wind felt like it carried her scent. He had waited in the dark for hours, but the hunt mistress did not come. He almost wished she would. The waiting was worse than running. He shifted his weight slowly, trying to ease the ache in his legs. That was when he heard a soft cry, high and thin. Not her. Something else. Jaxon moved quietly down the slope. Near the stream, something small was caught in a tangle of thorns. A creature shaped like a tiny deer, its fur silver and soft. It kicked weakly, trying to pull free. Every movement made the thorns dig deeper into its skin. He should have walked away. He should have saved his strength for himself, but he couldn't. He knelt beside the animal. Easy, he whispered. I'm not going to hurt you. His fingers worked quickly, untangling the vines. The creature trembled, dark eyes fixed on his face. When the last thorn fell away, it tried to stand. Its leg gave out, and it fell against his arm. Jaxon sighed. You're as stuck as I am, he murmured. He lifted the little animal and carried it to a flat patch of moss. It didn't struggle. He tore a strip of cloth from his sleeve and wrapped it around the bleeding leg. The creature blinked up at him, breathing fast. He rested his hand on his side. You'll be okay, he whispered. A voice spoke behind him. You surprised me. He didn't turn. How long have you been watching? He asked. Long enough, Alda said. Her steps were silent as she came closer. You could have left it, she said. No one would blame you. Jackson sighed. I know. Why help something weaker than you? She asked. He looked up at her. Because someone should, he said simply. She was quiet. For the first time, she did not raise her weapon. She knelt across from him, studying the little creature. It will not live long, she said. Maybe not, he said, but at least it won't die afraid. Her golden eyes met his. He thought she might say something cruel. Instead, she tilted her head. Humans are strange, she said softly. He almost laughed. You think so? He asked. She looked down at the creature again. You were taught to take, she said, to conquer. Not all of us, he said. No, she admitted. Not you. For a moment, neither of them spoke. The little creature breathed slowly, its eyes closing. Jaxon straightened, careful not to startle her. So what happens now? He asked. Alda stood, her armor catching the new light. The ride is not over, she said. But you watch me, he said. You saw I'm not your enemy. Her eyes narrowed. I saw a man who helps the weak, she said. But that does not end the hunt. He felt a dull ache in his chest. So you'll still kill me, he whispered. She was silent for a long time. Then she looked past him, toward the rising sun. The law says I must, she said. Her voice was almost gentle. But my heart says I do not want to. Jackson swallowed. Then maybe the law is wrong, he said. She met his gaze again. Or maybe I am, she whispered. Her hand touched the hilt of her blade, but she did not draw it. Run, she said quietly. Why? Because if you stay, she said, I will not be able to let you go. Her golden eyes softened. And I do not yet know which part of me will win. She stepped back into the shadows and vanished. Jackson closed his eyes. He was still alive, but for the first time, he wondered if he was the hunter or the hunted. The old stories day passed slowly. Jaxon moved through the jungle with no clear path. Every time he thought of stopping, He heard her voice in his mind. Run. So he ran by sunset. His legs were shaking. His throat was dry. He found a hollow under a wide tree and crawled inside. He lay there, listening to his own breath. He did not know if all this would come tonight. He did not know if he wanted her to. The air was cool as darkness fell. He pulled the old spear close to his chest, feeling the rough carvings under his fingers. How many hands had held this before him? How many had died because of it? He tried to close his eyes, but a noise made him freeze, a soft step in the leaves. He did not look up. "You're here," he whispered. "Yes," Alda said. Her voice came from just beyond the hollow's mouth. He did not move. "Will you kill me now?" he asked. Silence. Then she said, "No." He let out a slow breath. "Why?" "Because I am tired," she said quietly, "and because I have questions." Jackson shifted, turning his head. In the faint starlight, he saw her shape a dark outline against the trees. "What do you want to know?" he asked. She stepped closer, but not inside. "Why did you help the little creature?" she asked again. He sighed. "Because it was afraid," he said. Her golden eyes watched him. "And you were not?" she asked. He almost laughed. "I'm always afraid," he said. She tilted her head. "My people say fear is weakness," she said. "Mine say fear is what keeps you alive," he replied. She was quiet for a long time. Then she said, "There was a time when your kind were not enemies." He frowned. "When? Long before my birth," she said. "In the old stories, humans fought beside us. Then they turned against us." Her voice was soft. "And so we learned to hate you." Jackson closed his eyes. "I never hated you," he said. "That is why I do not strike you down," she admitted. He looked at her. "So what happens now?" She was silent. Then she sat down just beyond the hollow, her blade resting across her knees. "Tonight," she said, "there will be no hunt." He did not understand. "Why?" "Because I wish to remember," she said, "what it feels like to see a human as something other than prey." They sat in silence. Above them, the stars moved slowly across the sky. Jackson found his breathing easing, even though she was still close enough to kill him in one motion. "What do your stories say about the old war?" he asked quietly. She lifted her head. "That humans were brave," she said, "that they stood with us against the great devourers. And after, she whispered, they left and never returned." He did not know what to say. Finally, he whispered, "I'm sorry." She looked at him for a long moment. "So am I," she said. They sat there, two survivors of different worlds, for a little while. There was no hunt, no law, no fear. Just two people beneath the same sky. The last trial dawn came soft and gray. Jackson opened his eyes to see Alda sitting in the same place, where she had watched over him all night. For a moment, he thought she might leave without a word, but when she stood, she turned to face him. "The time has come," she said. His chest tightened. "To end it," he asked. "To decide it," she corrected. He rose slowly, every muscle aching. "What does that mean?" She looked at him with eyes that seemed older than the trees around them. "There's one last trial," she said softly, "and then the rite will be finished." He gripped the spear tighter. "What do I have to do?" he asked. She stepped closer, her armor making no sound. "You will stand before me," she said. Unarmed, he felt the blood drain from his face. "And then you will meet my gaze," she said. "And you will not look away." He frowned, confused. "That's it. That is everything," she said. She reached out and touched the old spear. "Put it down," she commanded. His hands did not want to let go. But slowly, he lowered the weapon to the moss. He straightened, feeling exposed. "Why this?" he whispered. "Because fear lives in the eyes," she said, "and honor does too." For a moment, they simply faced each other. The morning light turned her dark armor into a shimmer of blue. She raised one hand and removed her bone mask. Her face was strong and sharp, marked by faint scars. Her golden eyes were steady as the dawn. He felt his heart hammering in his chest. She was beautiful in a way that had nothing to do with softness. Beautiful because she was real. "Look at me," she said. He did. Her gaze was like a weight pressing against his thoughts. He wanted to look down, to turn away, but he forced himself to stay still. His breath came fast. "You are afraid," she said calmly. Double quotes. "Yes," he said, voice hoarse. "Good," she said. "Only fools feel nothing." The wind moved between them, carrying the scent of leaves and old earth. She studied his face, searching for something. "Do you hate me?" she asked. "No." He whispered. "Do you hate this?" He swallowed hard. "I hate that it has to be this way," he said honestly. Her eyes softened just a little. "So do I," she said. The silence stretched long and heavy. Then, very slowly, she lowered her head. "You have passed," she said. He let out a shaking breath. "I don't understand," he said. She lifted her gaze again. "Only one who can stand unarmed before death deserves to live," she said. "And you have." He felt something break loose in his chest. Relief, shock, something close to gratitude. "So it's over?" he asked. Her mouth curved in a small, tired smile. "It is over," she said. She turned and walked back to where the spear lay. She picked it up carefully and held it out to him. "Take it," she said. His hand closed around the old wood. "What does this mean now?" he asked softly. "That you are no longer prey," she said. Her eyes met his one last time. "You are my equal," she finished. He felt the truth of her words settle into the quiet space between them, and for the first time, he believed it. The choice morning sun rose higher, turning the leaves gold. Jackson stood with the old spear in his hand. He felt lighter, though he knew nothing about his life had really changed, except maybe everything had. Alice stood across from him, her mask now resting at her side. Without it, she looked more like a person than a hunter. Her golden eyes watched him quietly. "You have a choice now," she said. "A choice?" he asked. "Yes," she said softly. "You may leave this world. I will give you safe passage to your ship's wreck. My people will not stop you." He felt a small hope bloom in his chest. Home, Earth, safety. But she was not finished. "Or," she said, "you may stay." He frowned. "Stay? Why?" "Because there is something here that needs rebuilding," she said. "The memory of what we once were, before the old hate." He swallowed. "You mean, you and me?" he whispered. Her voice was very soft. "I mean, my people, and maybe us." He looked down at the spear. "And if I stay," he asked, "then you are no longer my prey," she said. "You are my ally, perhaps more." Her gaze did not waver. "But I will not make that choice for you," she finished. The jungle was quiet around them. No more running. No more hiding. Just a single moment, asking him to decide who he was going to be. He thought of Earth, the small house, the warm kitchen. But he also thought of this place. The wildness. The strange beauty. In her. "What happens if I leave?" he asked. Her eyes turned away, just for a second. "Then I will remember you as the first human to stand unafraid," she said. He felt something tighten in his chest. "And if I stay?" he asked again. She looked at him. "Then you will help me change what has been broken for too long," she said. He knew it should be an easy choice. Safety. Home. But nothing felt easy anymore. He thought of the little creature he had saved. He thought of how she had watched him instead of striking. He thought of standing unarmed before her, and how she had lowered her blade. Maybe that was what hope looked like. Not a promise. Just a chance. He lifted the spear. Her eyes flickered, waiting. "I will stay," he said. Her breath caught. "Are you certain?" He nodded. Double quotes. "I don't know what this means," he said honestly, "but I know I don't want to run anymore." For a long moment, she said nothing. Then she stepped closer and placed her hand over his on the spear. "Then you are no longer my prey," she said. Her voice was steady. "You are my chosen," she finished. He looked into her golden eyes. He did not know what would come next, but for the first time since he crashed on this world, he felt like he had found something worth staying for. Maybe even something worth fighting for. Above them, the morning sky turned bright and clear, and as they stood together in the dawn, Jackson knew this was only the beginning. In that quiet moment, with the old spear between them, he finally understood that sometimes choosing to stay is the bravest act of all.